Hey mamas, this is Playfully Faithful Parenting, and I'm your host, Joy Wendling. I'm a seminary grad and children's and family minister turned stay-at-home mom to my 5 girls. Spiritual parenting is my calling, and it's my passion to help other mamas disciple their kids using the power of play and their own authentic daily walk with Christ. If you're a mama who wants to introduce your kids to Jesus and watch as the Holy Spirit transforms their lives, this is the place for you. I'm so glad you're here. So let's dive in and see how we can partner with God today. Hey mama, welcome to Playfully Faithful Parenting. I'm Joy, and we are talking about play basics for the rest of this month. We've already talked about what scaffolding is, and if you did not hear that episode, I highly recommend you go back. It is such a powerful tool for us as parents who want to teach our kids faith and nurture their faith and teach them who God is. Then last week we talked about pretend play and faith and what pretend play can do to benefit our children and their development and faith. This week, we are talking about risky play. And again, we're going to lean into that Luke 2:52. Jesus grew in wisdom, stature, and favor with God and man. Jesus grew developmentally in all of these ways. That hits what I consider the 5 major areas of child development. Everybody has different kind of areas that they consider the major areas of child development. But looking at this verse, really, I kind of squish it into 2 of them into one of them. But so Jesus grew in wisdom. So that's cognitive development, stature, physical development, in favor with God, spiritual development, and favor with man. That, I believe, is social and emotional. So the social, emotional development there. God created children to grow in a particular way. And it is not wrong for children to be developmentally childish. That is not a bad thing. And so what we are talking about in this series of play basics is how using these different basic play techniques, we can help our children grow developmentally the way God created them to grow, and then partner that with their faith. And so that it hits all of those areas. And then in the Facebook group, we talk a little bit about what is that looking like in our real lives. And then in the email, how does that look in a Bible story, using a Bible story to play out whatever type of play we're talking about. So this week, it's risky play. Risky play can be scary, right? That's what risky play is. It's play that challenges our kids, that pushes them to take risks. When you think about the words risky play, what feelings come up in you? Is it scary to you? Is it something like, yeah, that's no problem. I have no problem letting my kids jump off things and climb trees and whatnot? Or are you someone who's like, it hurts my mama heart to watch my kids engage in risky play? I know the benefits of it, and so I try to do it. But honestly, because I don't like pain, I get scared. And I have to remind myself that they are learning, they are growing, and God has got them, and it's okay to get hurt. There are so many benefits. This past week, a neighbor texted me, and we live on a road that there are only 4 houses on the road. One of the houses is an Airbnb, but there is kind of a sloped road that we all share. And there's some twists and turns, and my girls like to go to the top of the hill and ride their bikes or scooters or tricycles down the hill. Now, that's scary enough, but then think that we've got other people who live on this road. Not a lot, but a few other people. And so the neighbor texted me and just said, it scares me when I come around and your kids are on the hill. And I'm like, I get that. It is scary. And so I said, I can see my kids growing in confidence and learning so much. So I'm not going to let that stop them from riding down the hill. However, we can put up a sign at the top of the hill. We have a couple of those children at play signs. We could put a sign up at the top of the hill before you get to the turn where they are playing. We'll put it up higher so you will see you'll see the sign when they're on the hill. And she said, "Oh, I get it. That's a great idea." And it was not a big deal. It could have been. I could have, said, "Oh, we're making our neighbors nervous. We just have to stop playing on the hill." And that would have disappointed my kids. And it also would have taken so much from them, from what they are learning and the ways they are growing. And so to be able to meet the risky play needs of my kids and meet the safety concerns of my neighbors was a really beautiful compromise. And she felt heard, and I acknowledged her fear, and I acknowledged the need of my kids and the growth and development in my kids. And so that is a way where I advocated for my kids and risky play, even where honestly it scares the dickens out of me when they go zooming down this hill. But it was, I thought, just a really great conversation with my neighbor, and the way that the Holy Spirit orchestrated and gave me wisdom and discernment and what to do and how to support my kids in risky play and advocate for them and meet the needs and hear the concerns of my neighbor. So it's not going to always work out that way, but that is just, something that I wanted to share with you on, yes, other people and even yourself may have concerns about risky play, and that is okay. We can still advocate for our children and meet their needs. And sometimes it is going to be okay to redirect them and put boundaries. If your kids are climbing on the staircase, our staircase is really old, and so some of the spindles are broken and loose, and so that is not something where I am going to compromise. And so when they do that, I ask them to get down, and then I can redirect them and offer them another place to climb. For us, we have a dome outside. If they need to climb, they can go outside. So being considerate and encouraging of risky play doesn't mean no boundaries. I did some research this week because, again, this is a place where I struggle. And most of it's internal struggle, more so than speaking it out to my kids. Because I know the value of risky play. But I did do some work and research on it this week to help me prepare to share this with you. So I took this workshop all about risky play. And it is, as most of my research, a secular training that I am now translating into a faith-based help for us. So, but here are some skills that kids learn from taking risks. They learn confidence. It builds their resilience. They learn how to assess and they assess their abilities and their limits. It supports inventiveness. It helps them to learn natural consequences. It supports their creativity. It supports self-regulation. We need that, right? Self-control. That is a fruit of the Spirit. It helps them develop independence as well as interdependence. And here's what I'm adding. It encourages them and offers them safe places to ask for help. How many people struggle to ask for help? If you were provided as a child more opportunities to take risks and then safely ask for help when you've met your limit, wow, that is a beautiful lesson for us, especially in the church. That is what the church environment should be like. We should be able to be creative, to take risks in ministry and in our lives and in serving others and in following Jesus, and then still have a safe place to ask for help. So, some ways that we can support our children in risky play is asking them questions. We talked about this with scaffolding and with pretend play. But questions are really powerful. And Jesus asked a lot of questions. And so we can grow in our parenting if we learn to ask wisdom building questions. That is what Jesus did. In the show notes, I'm also going to put a link to a Connected Families course on asking questions. It's called The Power of Questions. And it really helps you to think about how you can best use questions to help your children grow in wisdom based on the way Jesus did it. So here are some questions we can ask our kids. Do you feel safe? When you put your foot there, does it make you feel safe? Or how do you feel? I'm here if you need me. What is your plan? Those are just a few different questions we can ask, statements we can make to help our children learn to take risks. So some thoughts, right? I think that risky play, outdoors, indoors, with their physical, emotional development that is happening there, and even social emotional development that is happening there, also mirrors the way that we can support our kids in their faith. If we can let go of being helicopter parents, even and especially in our children's faith, and like I shared a few weeks ago, step back and give them space, like Samuel and Eli. Eli gave Samuel space in his relationship with God. He trusted God and the child to have a conversation and a relationship together, and for the child to hear from God. What if we did that with our children's faith? What if we did that also with their risky play to help them physically live out our belief in our children that they are capable of making choices. That also is going to equip our children to feel that they have had some choice, some authority in their lives, which then leads to less power struggles in discipline. Children have so little authority, so little power, and it is something that we, as in our broken humanness, feel the need to have, right? We all need to have some level of authority over our lives. We want to teach our children self-control, not outside parent controlled or not teacher controlled, but self-control. We have to help our children learn what are their limits, what are their abilities, what is in their own level of control, right? When we stop kids from taking risks, we stop their growth. And that is true in their play. It is also true in their faith. So as we as parents learn to step back and watch, offer support, give a little guidance, scaffold things, then we are helping to facilitate an environment where our children feel capable of making choices and taking risks. I think about the book of Acts. And when I think of the book of Acts or the early church, the one word that comes to my mind is bold. The early church was bold. They spoke with boldness. They went out boldly. Our children can't do that when we protect them from everything. They will learn to be bold when we allow them to take risks, when we encourage them and tell them we are here when they fall. Not if, but when. I am here for you when you fall off the jungle gym. I am here for you when you fall at a party in high school. I'm here for you when you fall in your faith. I'm here for you when you try to listen to God and it didn't go the way you thought it would. You can take risks with God, and I am here for you. Do you feel safe? Do you feel like that's a wise choice? I'm here for you. We can coach our kids. Coaches aren't out there playing the game. Coaches watch and then offer feedback when needed and help lead when needed. They give new information when necessary. They support. They encourage. They teach new things, not in the moment, but beforehand to prepare the players to play the game. But coaches don't play. Can we coach our kids in risky play and in their faith? This also is going to lead us to need to do some unwinding. If you remember the 5 key tools that I've taught in previous episodes, I'll link those in the show notes from Parenting for Faith. Unwinding is where we help gently redirect the misperceptions our kids have of God and of faith and a life in faith. And so when we allow our kids to take risks in their faith or risky play outside, there might be some times when they make mistakes and we get to gently come alongside them and say, "Oh, that didn't go the way you planned. God's not quite like that, is he?" And we can come in and gently help unwind those mistakes. Oh, you thought that round log wouldn't roll when you tried to jump off of it. So it didn't go quite as planned. Let's think about what is true. This log is round. It rolls when it's this way. What happens if you try it the other way? It's still not stable. Ugh. That reminds me of a Bible story where Jesus says the wise man built his house upon a rock. Maybe there's a big rock you can jump off instead of this unstable log. There are so many parallels of risky play and our children's faith that I just didn't want to do this series on play basics without talking about the benefits of risky play for both their development and their faith. Now, the last word of caution, or not caution, but help, encouragement, is that there is a difference between risks and hazards. When there is something that you see is not just potential for harm, but promises harm, you ought to step in and help. Share wisdom before a child gets maimed or loses an eye. Look for, pray for, ask for discernment for the difference between risks and hazards. Set up a safe place. Don't leave pruning shears out next to the playground, right? We can be wise without being helicopter parents, right? We can set up safe places for our kids to take risks in the yard, in our homes, and in their faith, so that our children can grow in confidence and self-control and learn their creativity, learn what God has made them capable of, and where they can feel safe to explore what it feels like to be bold. Mama, I just encourage you to take a breath, to say a prayer, and come alongside. Gently ask, do you feel safe? Do you need help? How can I help you? Where would you like me to stand as you engage in some risks? And watch as your child flourishes and grows in confidence, because ultimately we are preparing people. They are full humans who will launch out into the world and leave your home and have only God with them, right? We cannot manage their faith forever. And so we can nurture their faith now so they know what they are capable of and what God is capable of. And He is capable of so much. So mamas, thank you on behalf of God for loving and playing with your kids. Go out there and take some risks. Model risky play. Model a risky faith. And see what happens with your heart and your kids. If you need help or encouragement or want to brainstorm some risky play, need some help discerning what is a hazard and what is a risk, please reach out. I would love to chat. Talk to you soon. Bye, mamas. Well, mamas, that's it for today. Thanks for joining me on Playfully Faithful Parenting. I'd love to keep the conversation going over on the socials. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you felt encouraged or equipped by today's show, do me a favor and leave a review. I can't wait to hear your story. Till next week, keep playing and pointing those littles to Christ.